reporting from Channel 4. Our topic today is TBT, Throwback Thursday to an Era of Good Feelings. An Era of Good Feelings was from 1817 to 1825. It was named because of its one-party dominance, the Democratic Republicans. Its negative effect would shape the way America would turn out to be. Now tune to Alex Colonna for more information on the Battle of New Orleans.
Hi, I'm Alex, and today we're going to be trying a new segment called the Battle of New Orleans Call-In Trivia. To call in, please dial 1-800-HISTORY. The first question is, why did the British first defeat the Americans, and what was their initial plan? Hello?
Hi, the answer is Lake Borge, and their plan was to separate Louisiana from the United States.
That was correct. The second question is, do you know why the Battle of New Orleans was so ironic?
Don't mind me.
The answer escaped my mind.
Let's see if anyone else knows the answer.
It was so ironic because the peace between America and Britain was made by the Treaty of Ghent and because the treaty was signed before the battle.
That sounds correct, thank you. The last question is, how does the Battle of New Orleans affect the Era of Good Feelings?
Can you please explain?
Alright. It affected the Era of Good Feelings because America was just going out of war and was already in another battle even after the treaty was signed.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a nice day. Now tune to Jessica for the new segment.
Hi, I'm Jess, and to continue with our throwback segment, I will be discussing Andrew Jackson and the acquisition of Florida. Hey, there's Andrew Jackson waking up now. Hi, Andrew Jackson. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, Andrew Jackson, since you came back from such a long time ago, I have some questions to ask you about Florida during America's War for Independence.
Well, East and West Florida were both under the control of the British. However, by the Treaty of Paris in 1783, they were under the control of the Spanish.
I heard in the early 1800s the American settlers in West Florida rebelled. This resulted in declaring independence from Spain. Is this true?
Yes, that is true, and President Madison and Congress took advantage of this incident, knowing that the Spanish government was weakened by Napoleon's invasion of Spain. This became critical when I took over the forts at Pensacola and St. Mark's in 1818.
Instead of me asking you questions, why don't you just tell us a story?
The Seminoles and escaped slaves were a threat to Georgia. An authorized raid was set where I executed 2 British citizens for inciting the Indians and runaways. The government considered criticizing my actions. However, Adams backed me up and used my military action to control inhabitants of East Florida or give it to the United States. Minister Onis of Spain and John Quincy Adams, Secretary of State, reached an agreement. This included Spain giving East Florida to the United States and all rejects on West Florida. U.S. agreed to take responsibility and agreed to assure liability for $5 million for the damage done by American citizens who rebelled against Spain. All in all, the Onis-Adams Treaty of 1819 included the United States and Spain clarifying the western limits of the Louisiana Purchase, and Spain surrendered its claims to the Pacific and its claims to the Pacific Northwest.
It's my money and I need it now!
It's my money and I need it now! It's my money and I need it now!
It's my money and I need it now!
It's your money, use it when you need it.
Hi, I'm Alexa Gentile, and continuing with our TBT broadcast, our next topic is the Monroe Doctrine. This document warned European powers not to interfere in the affairs of the Western Hemisphere. It is the best known U.S. policy towards the Western Hemisphere and warns European nations that the U.S. would not tolerate further colonization or puppet monarchs. The Monroe Doctrine was not beneficial to the U.S. due to not allowing the U.S. to influence other countries and other countries to influence the U.S., which affected industrialization.
Now to the Missouri Compromise. Tensions between anti-slavery and slavery groups led to the Missouri Compromise. James Talmadge from New York proposed an idea of no slavery in the new state, Missouri. The debate was complicated because of slave defenders who were focused on fairness. They questioned how Congress was able to make decisions for a new state. They suggested that this decision would give new states fewer rights.
Henry Clay, a congressman, came up with a solution known as the Missouri Compromise.
Missouri would be the first state to be entered into the Union as a slave state. Maine would then be added as a free state, balancing the Union.
Slavery would be denied from all new states from the Louisiana Purchase. Everyone saw the compromise as defective. The compromise lasted for 30 years until the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which insisted the new states the right of slavery. This was bad because it never fully resolved the tensions between South and North. Sectionalism created a barrier between free and slave states, viewing them as separate. The Missouri Compromise kept the Union together temporarily. The issue of slavery was tearing apart the country. The Missouri Compromise didn't solve anything, and sectionalism was ruining our unity.
This is Tori reporting live from the Panic of 1819. From 1815 to 1818, Americans enjoyed a period of post-war prosperity. There was an abundance of land available in the West on easy terms of credit, which caused land scales to largely increase. State banks and the Bank of the U.S. fed the speculation by making loans that they really should not have been making because they were far in excess of their hard currency reserves. Prices doubled, real estate values became inflated, and many Westerners owed the federal government for the purchase of public land. Cotton prices were the most valuable American export. On January 2nd, my birthday, cotton prices sank and the Panic of 1819 began. There became an estimated 500,000 people jobless nationwide. The National Bank stopped all loans and called in all debts. This panic was the worst for farmers and businessmen who mortgaged their economic futures in the South. The planters charged that the tariff of 1816 unfairly raised their costs and amounted to an unconstitutional tax levied for the sole benefit of northern manufacturers. By 1823, the panic was finally over, but it left a lasting imprint on American politics.
Hi, I'm Lexi Patania, and I'm here to talk about the election of 1824. William H. Crawford was our Secretary of State, and he replaced James Monroe as the Democratic-Republican candidate. Andrew Jackson, the second candidate, was a war hero of 1812, and he won the election with 99 votes. William H. Crawford came in last place with 41 votes. However, Jackson was not going to be our sixth president because no candidate won the majority of votes in the Electoral College. As a result, the House of Representatives would have to decide between the top two candidates. Many ramifications followed the election of 1824. The first was that the Jacksonians withdrew from the Republican Party to form the Democratic-Republican Party. This party opposed the National Bank and disliked tariffs. The second ramification was that most states loosened voting requirements for citizens. Many states revoked the qualification to own property in order to vote. Also, white males began to vote directly for members of the Electoral College rather than through legislators. Approximately 350,000 people voted during the 1824 election, and due to this ramification, over 3 times as many voted during the 1828 election. Another result was that Jackson announced, in order to give citizens a chance to participate in government, his appointees to federal jobs would only be allowed to serve a maximum of a 4-year term. Jackson also enabled the rotation in office policy. This allowed him to give many jobs to close political allies and his friends. Andrew Jackson then fired 10% of his employees. Many of these had still been from the Adams administration. He then gave these jobs to the Jacksonians. The last consequence following the election was that during Jackson's presidency, he enabled the spoils system. This system allowed incoming electees to remove former appointees and give these jobs to their close friends.
Now to, who's up next?
Hi, I'm Jess, and today we'll be... Hi.
By 1823, the panic was finally over, but it left...
Authorized raid. What? I'm gonna do it. Oh, I'm gonna get it.
Help us, Sophie. Help us.
Sometimes I get a good feeling.